Hello everybody, welcome back to The Lost Planeswalker. I'm Jesse, The Lost Planeswalker, and today we have another Friday Fat Pack opening. And today's box is Eldritch Moon. We ended up doing so good on that Avacyn Restored that I thought, why not do another Innistrad box, continuing with Eldritch Moon, which is the last in the second to last block with Shadows over Innistrad and Eldritch Moon. And some of the contents we got a player's guide with an encyclopedia of all the cards. We have an Eldritch Moon card box, 9 Eldritch Moon booster packs, 70 basic land packs, which is different. Normally we have 80, so this is a bit smaller. This one's printed in 2016, so a little less lands. 10 Eldritch Moon double face card checklist, a spin down life counter, and 2 deck boxes. So other than the basic lands, we got everything else here. And really excited to open this, just like the Avacyn Restored. Never opened any Eldritch Moon packs, a little bit before my time. But I guess without further ado, why don't we crack this open? Let's take a quick look at this player's guide. Similar to the other one, this is the final part in this 2-part story arc. Emrakul has arrived. Talked about some of the cards in the set. A little bit of story. You got Nahiri here, creating these monoliths to draw in Emrakul. And then here's the encyclopedia of cards. And then here are our special. These are the 3 dual face cards. The ones that flip and combine. Now let's crack open this fat pack. Start. We got our 2 deck boxes here. One with Emrakul, one with Liliana on it. Got our pack. We had a red spin down. Excellent. And then our basic lands. Well everyone, as you can see, instead of giving us those blank dual-face cards like they did in Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunt and Zendikar and some of the newer sets, they gave us these dual-face cards that you just check which card it is, which is very nice when you're trying to remember what it is if you don't have time to write everything out. Put the power and toughness in, and it looks like they gave you those in place of our lands because we only received 4 lands and these were in our card slots for those. Starting off with some of the notable common cards in the set, we have Thermo Alchemist, a 1 and a red creature human shaman with defender, and you tap Thermo Alchemist to deal 1 damage to each opponent. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, untap Thermo Alchemist. This is a really good card in, Spell Slinger deck. Continually keep dealing damage to your opponent and keep untapping it. It's a really nice ability. Next we have Lunarch Mantle. It is a 1 and a white enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has 1 sacrifice permanent. This creature gains flying until end of turn. This is a really powerful ability. Not only does it buff up your creature, but you can sack another token or another creature you have to give something you have flying and just swing in for the kill. Grapple with the Past, 1 and a green, instant. Put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard, then you may return a creature or land from your graveyard to your hand. This is a really excellent, cheap creature return spell. 1 and a green, you get to put more creatures in, especially good in graveyard decks. Prey Upon, just 1 green, sorcery. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. I mean, green, big stompy, this just makes sense. You have a giant creature, you want to destroy another target creature, have them fight. Easy, cheap spell. Midnight Scavengers, 4 and a black, creature, human rogue. When Midnight Scavengers enter the battlefield, you may return target creature with converted mana 3 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Melds with Gorelf Rats. So this is one of those giant merge cards. This is the only one we got. But if you merge it, you can make an Eldrazi Horror, Haste, Menace. When Chattering Host enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain Menace until end of turn. That's just an incredibly strong ability if you have a giant board full of small creatures. That could be a game winner right there. Sigardian Priest, 1 and a white, creature, human cleric. For 1 and you tap target non-human creature. I mean, there's a lot of human creatures in Magic, but if you just need to tap a big guy, all you gotta do is pay 1 and tap this creature. It seems like a no-brainer to me. Contingency Plan, 1 and a blue. Look at the top 5 cards of your library, put any number of those into your graveyard, and the rest back on top of your library in any order. This card would be great in Delve decks. Just fill up your library with all of those spells you don't need, and then put whatever you want back on top in the right order. It just seems like a great card for Delve. Moving on to some of the notable uncommons we opened up. Haunted Dead, 3 and a black, creature zombie. When Haunted Dead enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying onto the battlefield. For 1 and a black, discard 2 cards, return Haunted Dead from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This is just a great graveyard recursion zombie. Makes white spirits with flying that you can either use as blockers or sacrifice. Be really good in pretty much any zombie deck. Repel the Abominable, 1 and a white, instant, prevent all damage that would be dealt this turn by non-human sources. This just seems great against most decks, most tribal decks that aren't humans or don't have a lot of humans in them. For 1 and a white, just prevent all damage that would be dealt. That can save you in a game, that can keep you from getting killed, can protect all your creatures. It just seems like a great card. Blessed Alliance, 1 and a white, instant. You can escalate for 2. Pay this cost for each mode chosen beyond the first. So choose 1 or more. Target player gains 4 life. Untap up to 2 target creatures. Target opponent sacrifices an attacking creature. This is a really versatile instant for just 1 and a white. You can get all of those different abilities that can go in a wide range of decks. If you need life gain, got life gain. If you need to tap down, untap up to 2 creatures, you can do that as well. If you want to make an opponent sack a creature while attacking, it's really whatever you need in that situation. We got Murder here for 1 and 2 black. Instant, destroy target creature. It's plain and simple. Murder is one of the most printed kill spells in black. It's been reprinted a bunch of times because it's just so good. So I will be definitely playing this in one of my decks. We got Liliana's is Elite for 2 and a black. Creature zombie. Liliana's is Elite gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard. That just makes sense. I mean, zombie decks are packing the graveyard full of creatures. For 3 mana, you know, you're gonna get 5/5, 6/6, maybe even 10/10 or bigger creature. It just makes sense. It's a great zombie, especially at an uncommon level. So here's our flip artifact we got here. It's called Cryptolith Fragment for 3 generic mana. It's an artifact. Cryptolith Fragment enters the battlefield tapped. You can tap it to add 1 mana of any color in your mana pool, and each player loses 1 life. That seems pretty great. At the beginning of your upkeep, if each player has 10 or less life, transform Cryptolith Fragment. And when we flip it over, we get Aurora of Emrakul. Creature, Eldrazi Reflection. Flying, Death Touch. Whenever Aurora of Emrakul attacks, each opponent loses 3 life. This would go great in a group slug deck. Just keep pinging everybody down and down and down, and then when you can flip her over, each opponent starts losing 3 life. That's just so powerful. Similar to Thermo Alchemist that we reviewed in the commons. Next we have Faith Unbroken, 3 and a white, Enchantment Aura. Enchant creature you control. When Faith Unbroken enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls. Until Faith Unbroken leaves the battlefield, enchanted creature gets +2/+2. This just seems like a no-brainer in white. I mean, you already have white spells that take control of target creatures until enchantments are destroyed, but this is an aura you put on a creature as well, so you're getting +2/+2, and you get to take control of your opponent's most powerful creature. That seems like a no-brainer to me. Lastly, in our uncommon section, we have Campaign of Vengeance. 3, a white and a black. Enchantment. When a creature you control attacks, defending player loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. This just seems so powerful, especially an Orzhov token. You just make all those tokens. Each creature that you attack with is going to make an opponent lose 1 life, and you're going to gain a life. That just seems incredibly strong, especially for an uncommon card. Now let's move on to the rares. Now, first card we got for the rares is Splendid Reclamation, 3 and a green. Sorcery, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This is a super powerful ability. There's a lot of green decks that revolve around lands entering and exiting your graveyard. This would be a great card to put in any of them. Harmless Offering, 2 and a red. Sorcery, target opponent gains control of target permanent you control. I'm not sure exactly how this would be used in red. I know that there's a lot of cards in red, like the Beamtown Bullies has red in it, where you can take a creature you put on the battlefield, give it to your opponent. There could be any number of ways. Maybe you give your biggest creature to an opponent to help knock out somebody else. There could be a lot of uses for this card, but it looks really interesting. Alright, you're going to have to excuse my pronunciation for the next one, but Voldaren Para? Creature Vampire Horror. Flying. Sacrifice 3 other creatures, transform Voldaren Pira. And then if you discard it, you can pay it for its madness cost of 3 black. So the transformed is Abolisher of Bloodlines. Creature, Eldrazi Vampire. Flying. When this creature transforms into Abolisher of Bloodlines, target opponent sacrifices 3 creatures. That seems pretty good. Just make your opponent instantly sack 3 creatures when it transforms into a bigger flying creature, yeah, I will be playing this in a vampire deck for sure. Alright, after that we got Spirit of the Hunt, 1 and 2 green. Creature Wolf Spirit, that's interesting. You don't see a lot of wolf spirits. Flash, when Spirit of the Hunt enters the battlefield, each other creature you control that's a wolf or werewolf gets +0/+3 until end of turn. I mean, that's just a really cool card, especially for a werewolf deck. If you're swinging into somebody and they got some combat trick and buff up their creatures, you flash this in, you make your creatures tougher so they can survive, and you get a creature out of it, that seems like a pretty good deal to me. Identity Thief. 2 and 2 blue. Creature Shapeshifter. Whenever Identity Thief attacks, you may exile another target non-token creature. If you do, Identity Thief becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn. Return the exiled card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. It may seem weak at a 0/3 for 4 mana, but that ability is just incredible. If you're playing Commander and you want to shut down your whole opponent's board while it's your turn, just steal their Commander, and attack them back with it. If you want to take somebody's giant, big, stompy creature, flying, lifelink, whatever, just steal it, hit them in the face with it. They don't get it back till the next end step. That seems pretty sick to me. Soul Separator. 3 colorless, artifact. 5 and tap. Sacrifice Soul Separator. Exile target card from a graveyard. Put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of the card, except it's a 1/1 spirit in addition to its other types, and it has flying. Put a black zombie creature token onto the battlefield with power equal to the card's power and toughness, equal to that card's toughness. This seems like a really cool card. You get to separate one creature in your graveyard into 2 different creatures, one with the power and toughness of it, and the other one that is a 1/1 but has all the abilities. That could be a really cool card because it makes it a zombie in a zombie deck. I'm thinking Orzhov, Spirit, Black, that kind of works. This could be a really cool ability, and you could really manipulate that in a lot of different ways. Alright, you're going to have to excuse me on this pronunciation as well, but Mausoleum Wanderer? Creature, for 1 blue, creature spirit, flying. When another spirit enters the battlefield under your control, Mausoleum Wanderer gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Sacrifice Mausoleum Wanderer. Counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays X, where X is this creature's power. That's a pretty good card. For 1 and a blue, you basically are holding up a counter spell at any time. That seems like it'd be really good any point in the game, early in the game, preventing your opponents from, getting ahead, or whenever. That just seems like a great card. Summary, Dismissal. 2 and 2 blue. Instant. Exile all other spells and counter all abilities. Let's start fresh, shall we? This just seems like an epic card to pull out after the stack is 10 cards deep and your opponents have been going back and forth, the board's going to be wiped, you're going to be dealt 10 damage over, all these creatures are tapped. Nope, just summary, dismissal, just nope, get rid of all of them, no more. That seems pretty epic. Impetuous Devils. 2 and 2 red. Creature Devil. Trample Haste. When Impetuous Devils attack, up to 1 target creature defending player controls blocks it this combat if able. At the beginning of the end step, sacrifice Impetuous Devils. This seems like a great Trample Haste, stompy, red card. Your opponent has some creature on the board that you want to get rid of. Just plop this down, say you gotta block with your commander, you gotta block with this creature, that creature, get rid of it. Just a great card. Not one you obviously want to stick around because it'll sacrifice to the end, but just to get rid of somebody's, piece of power, keeping them in ahead of the game, everybody else. This seems like a good card to get to play. Finally, for the rares, we got Wharf Infiltrator. 1 and a blue. Creature, Human Horror. Skulk. This creature can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. When Wharf Infiltrator deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Whenever you discard a card, you may pay 2. If you do, put a 3/2 colorless Eldrazi horror creature token onto the battlefield. I have this card in my horror deck that I got for the new Battle for Baldur's Gate precon. It's a really strong card in that precon. it can really, you know, early game, nobody's able to block it. Draw cards, you know, filter out some of those cards I don't need. And if I got the extra mana, start making 3/2 colorless Eldrazi horror creatures. I mean, it's a great card. It can be really versatile. It's a great way to end this all these rares. Lastly, we move on to our mythic rare section, which unfortunately we only drew one, but this seems like a pretty fun card. Deploy the Gatewatch, 4 and 2 white, sorcery. Look at the top 7 cards of your library and put up to 2 Planeswalker cards from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If you're playing any sorts of deck that has lots of Planeswalkers in it, this is an auto include. This is just an amazing card. If you need to pull those, you know, legendary Planeswalkers, those power pieces that you need to start kicking off and start doing infinite turns or whatever nonsense you're going to be doing with Planeswalkers, this must be an auto include. It's a little expensive at 4 and 2 white, but if you really look at some of those, you know, more expensive Planeswalkers that you could be playing that are, you know, 5, 6, 7 mana, it completely, you know, takes care of that cost for free. It's a great card. Well, everybody, thank you so much for sticking around, watching this video to the end. You know, I'm trying something new, you know, giving some insight on some of these cards that I pulled instead of just showing them off. If you liked that, please let me know. I'm trying to try some different things, seeing what people like. I really appreciate you checking me out. If you enjoyed this, if you want to see more Fat Pack opening and eventually some more larger box openings, please, you know, leave a like and subscribe. You know, I'm going to be trying to put out about 2 videos a week, if not more. So stay tuned if you enjoy, and thank you for watching. And as always, I'll see you later, Planeswalkers.